Gentlemen, obviously everybody can see we've got a quorum. Most people I've seen since the Red Sox game in Fort Myers. We have a return of the warrant by Constable Adam Loomis. As required by state law, the chief of the fire department, Scott Duffy, asked that I point out the exits from the auditorium in case of an emergency, which are the two entrances you came out or exits. We have an exit here, and we have an exit to my right. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. This special town meeting is being videotaped by WRPS. If there are any non-registered voters or people from another town here, would you please sit over here on the mic to my left where Dr. Cron is sitting in the front row. As you know, Article 29 of the 2013 annual town meeting reduced the quorum to open the meeting to 150 registered voters, with only 50 registered voters need to be present at this session or any adjourned session, which was approved by the Attorney General on July 26, 2013. Before I go any further, I'd like the Board of Selectmen is asked to address the audience. If they would all stand up, and whoever is going to speak.
Greetings. No. I got a pretty loud voice. Number one thing I'd like to say is thank you to everybody here for showing up and supporting the town.
I'm sure they can.
Hello. I want to take time to thank everyone for coming out tonight. You don't know how much we appreciate looking out and see your faces, not having to wait and get the quorum. And it just shows that the town of Rockland has a lot of fine citizens who want to see their town keep moving ahead. Tonight we're just going to ask you to transfer some money. It'll be all being explained to you. You can ask all any questions you want. But I'd like to thank the board, Michael Roswell, Vince Petty, Mike Mullin, and Carol Nyman for their support. And we've got a good thing going here in Rockland. We have a lot of good people here in Rockland, and we're going to keep this town upright and rebuild our reputation from those who are trying to take it away from us. But thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you so much. Let's get the work done.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, if you wish to speak on an article, please raise your hand. When I recognize you, please come down to one of the microphones down front and state your name and address before speaking. Each speaker will be allowed up to 5 minutes when speaking on an article which is being acted upon. No speaker who has previously spoken on the same article will be recognized until all others who wish to speak have had their opportunity. I'd now like to introduce the people that are sitting up on the stage. To my immediate left is Donna Shawwell, the town clerk. Next to her is the interim town administrator, Marcy Birmingham. Next to her is the acting town accountant, Eric Kinches. And next to him is Rockland's town council attorney, John Clifford. I now recognize John Pumphrey to make two motions.
Can you hear me now? John Pumphrey, 325 Howard Street in Rockland. I am your Finance Committee Chair. Mr. Moderator, I'd like to make a motion that the first action on each article will be the Finance Committee recommendation.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote.
Mr. Moderator, I'd also like to make a motion to take all articles in the order in which they are printed.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote. All right, now turn to your warrant. I hope you picked up one on the way in. Article number 1. Will the town vote to rescind its approval of Article 14 of the May 7th, 2018 special town meeting which purchased the sum of $400,000 to purchase 258 Union Street, which is the gas station next to the town hall, or take any other action relative thereto? The emergency was due to substantial increase in the asking price of the property and cost of potential environmental studies necessary beyond the amount of funding appropriated. The Board of Selectmen is no longer pursuing the purchase of the property. The Finance Committee recommends passing over this article, and I think we need an explanation. For Marcy, I would ask that you explain that.
Refer that to Attorney Clifford.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Moderator. The reason we're passing this article over is we are using the funds in other articles that we're going to be asking town meeting to vote on this evening. But the reason we're asking to pass it over is that procedurally, the accountant and I have spoken, and if we actually vote to close this article out, to rescind its earlier approval, the money actually goes back into general fund revenues and would not be available to spend for this evening on other purposes. So we've agreed that we're asking to pass the article over. The money will be coming out of funds that were previously appropriated into this article, but no action is necessary on this article at this time.
Is there any other discussion on this article? All those in favor of the Finance Committee recommendation of passing over Article number 1 signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote. Article number 2, will the town vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds to sum of money to fund projected shortfalls in the town's legal budget? The emergency is due to multiple unforeseen legal issues that arose in May 2018 and are continuing to the present, and through the foreseeable future, the legal budget is facing a shortfall for the remainder of FY19. The additional funds are also necessary to cover outside investigators and insurance deductibles. The Finance Committee recommends funding $74,000 from funds appropriated on Article 14 of the May 7, 2018 special town meeting to legal services. All those in favor of adopting Article 2 signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote. Article 3. Will the town vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund projected shortfalls in the Board of Selectmen's and town accountant budget? The emergency is the amount requested is necessitated by unforeseen personnel issues in the town accountant's office and town administrator's office. Additional funding is required to staff those offices through the end of the fiscal year. The Finance Committee recommends funding $136,000 from funds appropriated on Article 14 of the May 7, 2018 special town meeting to accounting services. $86,000 of that is going to there, and to the selectmen budget salaries for $50,000. All those in favor of adopting Article 3 signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote. Article number 4. Will the town vote to raise and appropriate a transfer from available funds a sum of money to fund recently negotiated collective bargaining agreements between the town and its unions? The town is required to fund settled agreements at the next town meeting following conclusion of negotiations under General Laws, Chapter 150E. The Finance Committee recommends funding $160,760 from the funds appropriated on Article 14 of the May 7, 2018 special town meeting. The Fire Department is $29,960. Police Department is $70,000. The Highway Department is $13,300, and the Tree Department for $3,500. All those in favor of adopting Article 4 signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote. Article number 5. And before everybody gets out the door, I want to thank you for coming out tonight. It's a cold night. Once you get home, who likes to go out again? But it's great to see the people of Rockville come together and take care of the business we have to take care of. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. Article number 5. Will the town vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to the reserve fund or take any other action relative thereto? The emergency is this replenishes the reserve fund for a transfer that was approved to the legal and accounting budget earlier this year. The Finance Committee recommends funding $73,240 from funds appropriated on Article 14 of the 2018 special town meeting on May 7, 2018 to the reserve fund. All those in favor of adopting Article number 5 signify with a show of hands. All those opposed, that's a vote. I need a motion to dissolve the meeting. I have a motion to dissolve the special town meeting. Second, all those in favor of dissolving the special town meeting.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you very
Thank you
much.
so much for the support. We are so glad to see you all out here. We knew you'd be here too.